Moving towards an open defecation-free city is presented to you by the Urban Management Center in partnership with the CEPT University under the Performance Assessment System project.
PASS, a 7-year action research project, aims to develop better information on water and sanitation performance at the local level to be used to improve the financial viability, quality and reliability of services.
The Government of India launched the Swachh Bharat Mission in 2014, which aims to eradicate open defecation by 2019. This mission is also aimed at eradicating manual scavenging. The Ministry of Urban Development has issued a framework to achieve open defecation-free cities by 2019. Safe sanitation across the value chain is imperative to achieve the status of being ODF. The value chain consists of providing access to a toilet, collection of wastewater, conveyance of wastewater, its treatment and disposal of the byproducts.
The Swachh Bharat Mission has laid down these guidelines to achieve the objective of safe sanitation. These guidelines include construction of new toilets and converting insanitary toilets to sanitary. All new toilets must be connected to a safe water disposal system. This presentation provides city managers with a step-by-step action plan to make their cities free of open defecation. The first section of this presentation is on ensuring access to toilets to all citizens, either through an individual toilet or through a community toilet. Providing a toilet means providing an assembly of a superstructure and the substructure. Access to toilets can be provided in 3 ways listed here. The first 2 are related to providing toilets to households, while the last one is for floating populations at public places.
To provide access to toilets and to convert insanitary toilets to sanitary, it is important to assess the existing conditions of toilets in the city. This assessment will help identify the infrastructure gap. Before setting out for a citywide survey of households, obtain a ward map of the city. After demarcating these areas, use information from Census 2011 or baseline surveys from any recent projects such as the Awas Yojana or state missions such as the Mission Mangalam in Gujarat. Cities could use existing human resources such as volunteers of the Mission Mangalam to identify households without a toilet. The assessment should be conducted on all slums and slum-like areas that reside on either central, state or ULB lands or on private land, and also in Gamtal or core areas of the cities.
Now, form teams of surveyors to set out for the survey. Visit every household in the city and seek answers to questions from the questionnaire designed for this survey. After compilation of the survey results, a citywide result on availability of individual household toilets and their system for disposal will be available. Along with the survey, application forms for individual household toilets must be distributed and made available to the households. With this information obtained from the survey, prepare a map indicating all the observations recorded in the field. Such a survey would yield a map of availability of toilets with households and their systems for disposal of wastewater. Many of the households would also be dependent on public conveniences or community toilets. So it becomes important to mark locations of public conveniences and community toilets as well.
As per the open defecation-free guidelines of the Mahatma Gandhi Swachhata Mission, the focus now is on constructing community shared toilets instead of community toilets. Ideally, one toilet is assigned to a group of 3 households who are responsible for maintaining it. Public toilets are provided for the floating population or general public in places such as markets, train stations or other public areas where there is a considerable number of people passing by. Floating population also consists of construction workers, visitors, tourists, pilgrims, and therefore temporary facilities may also be required besides permanent facilities. To ascertain adequacy of public toilets, consider only well-maintained and usable toilets. Assess condition of public conveniences by ascertaining number of users, condition of toilets, availability of water, and connection to a safe disposal system.
Once a quantitative assessment is available for provision of infrastructure, it is also important to identify the demand from citizens. A demand-driven approach will further help cities to assess the need for toilets. Acquire support from ward councillors, identify local NGOs and CBOs, and seek the support in needs assessment from the community. Section 1 of this presentation dealt with ensuring access to toilets. The next section will talk about safe systems for disposal of wastewater and assessment of suitability.
Systems for disposal can be broadly classified into two groups: on-site systems and off-site systems. On-site systems are used in case of absence of an underground drainage network. Wastewater collected in these systems is treated partially or completely at the source. Off-site systems rely on a centralized system for conveyance and treatment of wastewater through an underground drainage system.
Twin leach pits are one of the modes for on-site treatment of wastewater. Using twin pits is a primary method of treating wastewater from toilets. At any given time, only one pit is in use. The pit should not be situated in the path of stormwater drains or in depressions. There are limitations to using leach pits. Specifically, they are not advisable in areas prone to waterlogging or flooding, or where the groundwater table is high, or in impervious or loamy soils.
On the other hand, septic tanks are leak-proof enclosures made out of concrete or brick or prefab concrete rings, PVC or fiberglass. Septic tanks could be built in any soil condition and they have a capacity to reduce BOD by up to 50%. The effluent from these tanks should be connected to either a soak pit or a settled sewer system. As per CPHEO norms, septic tanks need to be desludged every 2 to 3 years. Sludge that has been pre-settled in septic tanks is called fecal sludge. It still contains a lot of pathogens and needs to be safely emptied mechanically and needs to be treated before reuse. Besides twin pits and septic tanks, the CPHEO manual lists many other on-site solutions. Section 3 deals with conveyance of wastewater. In a centralized wastewater treatment system, wastewater is conveyed to a STP through sewer lines. Wastewater may be conveyed from the source without any treatment or after partial treatment with the help of septic tanks. Sewer networks are devised in settlements with an assured water supply of 135 litres per capita per day. But these require high capital expenditure as well as operating expenses. Another option that integrates on-site with off-site solution is use of septic tank with a small bore sewer system. Here, wastewater is partially treated and the effluents are released to the sewer network to be conveyed off-site for further treatment. However, a safe system for fecal sludge management is required.
Section 4 deals with treatment of wastewater. Safe treatment of wastewater is intrinsic to the cause of Swachh Bharat Mission and Mahatma Gandhi Swachhata Mission. There are various technologies available for treatment of wastewater. Depending on the quantity of wastewater generated and financial viability, any of these technologies may be adopted for treatment. Section 5 deals with disposal of byproducts. Effluent from sewage treatment plants must comply with the standards of the Central Pollution Control Board before it is disposed in water bodies or sold to farmers. The residual sludge that has been dried can be used as plant nutrients.
In many cities, open defecation is a well-established traditional practice deeply ingrained from early childhood. Building and owning a toilet is not perceived as aspirational. The challenge is to motivate people to see a toilet as fundamental to their social standing, status, and well-being. Even after providing toilets, the ULBs should engage into an aggressive information, education and communication campaign and an interpersonal communication campaign. This will ensure that in households that have received toilets, all members of the household will use them since they understand the benefits. With these steps, the city is on its path to becoming free of open defecation. The Mahatma Gandhi Swachh Mission has prepared a framework for declaration of cities which are free of open defecation.
As per the Swachh Bharat Mission ODF protocol, cities need to obtain ward-wise declaration from all schools and self-help groups. All schools, government and private, should conduct class-wise assessments to ascertain that all households have individual toilets or use community toilets and that all members of the household use these toilets. Schools should also ensure that there are clean and accessible toilets for students in the campuses. If certain students and their families are identified as not having access to toilets, the ULB should make contact and ensure construction of individual household latrines. Apart from these, the ULB should also issue a circular to all construction sites in the city, either in the government or private domain, to ensure provision of on-site toilets for men and women workers.
After ensuring that there is access to toilets for all, the urban local body should have provisions in conformity to their public health bylaws to levy administrative charges or spot fines on people found defecating in the open. Only after all these are ensured should ULBs bring out a preliminary declaration of open defecation free status and invite further suggestions or objections from their citizens. The city could hold open house sessions at prominent places to invite such suggestions from citizens. Having received suggestions from citizens, ULBs should then again initiate a rapid action force on any OD pockets which are notified and identified by citizens. Once this is done, the city should submit an ODF report to the Mahatma Gandhi Swachh Mission. The state mission, based on its protocol, will then send a third-party inspection agency to verify the status of the city.
To sustain the ODF status, the ULBs will have to continue monitoring OD sites. This could be done through weekly meetings with sanitary inspectors and other frontline workers of the ULB. Slum-wise CBOs could be engaged to be eyes and ears of the urban local body and could act as community safeguards to report and stop open defecation. Only with collaborative efforts with citizens can the city sustain its open defecation-free status. Thank you for your kind attention. For any queries, you can contact us at info@umcasia.org.